Hello, my wonderful friends, and welcome back to the Happy Aura channel. I am Jenny, and as always, I am sending you so much love, light, and peaceful energy today. I want you to take a moment to really arrive here with me. Settle into your seat, unclench your jaw, and let your shoulders drop away from your ears. We are going to dive into a topic today that is both deeply mysterious and incredibly common. It is a topic that might explain a lingering sense of emptiness you have felt in your own soul. Or perhaps it will shed light on a confusing, painful dynamic you have experienced with a partner. We are going to talk about the tragedy of the missing self. One of the oddest and most unsettling features of life is that, without there being too many significant outward signs of the problem, many people are to be found wandering the earth, lacking any true sense of who they are. They look like everyone else. They have jobs, they wear nice clothes, they smile at the right times. But if you were to look inside, past the surface level of their existence, you would find a hollow space where a personality should be. By this, I mean that they are radically, terrifyingly unsure of who they might be, what they might want, and who they should trust. These unfortunates have no settled core. They are like ships without an anchor, drifting aimlessly on the ocean of other people's expectations. In the background of their minds, there is a constant, quiet questioning. They are not asking themselves, "What do I like?" or "What moves me?" Instead, they are asking, "What am I supposed to like?" They are not asking, "What do I approve of?" but rather, "What is it good to approve of?" They are not asking, "What do I find funny?" but "When is the correct time to laugh?" When we watch these people carefully, over a long period of time, we may notice something strange. We notice rapid, almost arbitrary shifts in their views. One month, they absolutely love a certain artist. They buy all the albums. They talk about the lyrics incessantly. Then they meet a new group of friends, and suddenly they prefer jazz or classical, and they speak of that previous artist with disdain. They might love a specific style of jacket or hold a passionate political opinion until the wind changes and they prefer another one, and then another. They are implicitly, constantly calling out to a world which puzzles and terrifies them. They are screaming silently, "Who should I be? Tell me who to be. What is it right to think?" It is easy to judge this behavior. It is easy to call it fake, or flighty, or weak. But these poor souls tend to be the products of a very particular, very heartbreaking sort of childhood. We have to look back to the beginning to understand the end. When they were little, these individuals faced environments in which their uniqueness was never a matter of concern to their caregivers. Imagine a small child. This child is bursting with the potential for a unique personality. They are ready to discover if they like dinosaurs or dolls, blue or red, loud noises or quiet corners. But they are born to parents who are self-absorbed. This does not always mean the parents were monsters in the obvious sense. They might have been high-achieving, charming, successful people, but they were unable to push their own needs aside for a time. They were unable to drop to the level of the child and ask the most important questions a parent can ask. Who is this extraordinary new member of the human race whom I have helped to create? What are their particular inclinations? What do they love? What do they hate? What do they have to tell me? These parents were far too perturbed, too fragile, or too obsessed with their own image for such self-abnegation. They looked at their child and saw an extension of themselves, not a separate being. They couldn't attune to the child. And because the parent could not attune to the child could not, in turn, attune to themselves. This is a crucial psychological truth. We can only find out what we think if, in the early days, someone was sufficiently patient to facilitate our own process of self-discovery. We need a sounding board. We need someone who does not shout over us. We need someone who does not say, "Don't be ridiculous," when we venture forth a shy, tentative opinion. We need someone who does not use all the overwhelming resources of adulthood to insist that their way is the only way. The selfless child did not have this. They had to cope with an egotist who simply coerced them to follow an already predetermined agenda. The message was clear. These are the books you need to think are amazing. The only way to be a good boy or girl is to win at this kind of sport. You must excel at this school subject. You must want to be a banker or a vet or a lawyer, because that is what reflects well on me. All of this happened without the parent in any way bothering to check in on how this might have felt to the small person biologically programmed to adore and revere them. The child, needing love to survive, drew a terrifying moral from this experience. They learned that survival depends on compliance. They learned that the price of existing is the sacrifice of one's real identity. To be yourself is to be abandoned. To be what they want is to be safe. So they grew up. And now, these selfless people can be deeply charming. In fact, they are often the most pleasant people you will ever meet. Their manner can be exquisitely polite and mellifluous. They are experts at reading a room. They are built to work out what we like and to reflect it back to us. They are human mirrors. They aren't merely pretending to go along with what we think for a few minutes to be polite. It is deeper than that. They genuinely seek out our worldview and lose themselves in it. They try it on like a costume, hoping that this time it will fit. If you love hiking, they love hiking. If you love French cinema, they become an expert on French cinema. They merge. But these people also pose grave dangers to those who get close to them. For no one, absolutely no one, forgoes their sense of self without storing up a significant degree of rage and dissatisfaction. You cannot kill your own soul every day without resentment building up in the basement of your subconscious. Yet, this anger can never emerge cleanly. candid expression of their needs was never something that these selfless people were allowed to practice. They do not know how to say, "I actually hate hiking," or "I would rather watch a comedy." So they repress it. They shove it down. The first we are liable to learn about a problem they have with us is when it has already become unmanageable. We can be most at risk if we fall in love with these elusive, beguiling, shape-shifting people. And it is so easy to fall in love with them. At first, it is our tastes they want to understand. It is the books and places and foods we like that seem especially interesting to them. We feel seen. We feel validated. We think we have found our soulmate, our twin flame. We can allow ourselves a dangerous moment of self-indulgence. We are made to feel marvelous. We see our own reflection in their eyes, and we fall in love with it. We aren't suspicious enough to wonder why they agree with us on absolutely everything. We do not ask why they have no strong opinions that differ from ours. Until, at some point, the wind changes. It always happens. The mask begins to slip, or rather, they find a new mask. Our beloved without a self starts a new job, perhaps. They develop different friends. They start to hang out with a crowd they take to be superior, or just different. And suddenly, we are confused. What replaces their approval of us isn't just gentle disinterest. It will probably be disdain. We become as repulsive to them as we were once extraordinary. Why? Because we remind them of the mask they just took off. We remind them of a period of submission. They may say things that leave us baffled. They might say, "You don't really know me," or "You expect me to be perfect." These accusations hurt because we thought we knew them better than anyone. We thought we were close, but in reality, they feel trapped. They feel trapped by the very borrowed identity they once sought out so avidly from us. They put on the costume of our perfect partner, and now that costume feels like a straitjacket. There is considerable anger in their system, deep, volcanic anger. They know, on a primitive level, that someone has quashed their true self. They know they are not free, but because they cannot face the original trauma, because they cannot be angry at the parent who is long gone or still on a pedestal, they simply forget that it wasn't us who did this to them. They know implicitly that they have been prevented from becoming who they are, and they hold us responsible for stifling them. They project the controlling parent onto the loving partner. They may say, with an early adolescent level of scorn, "You are controlling me." This accusation pierces the heart. You think, "I never controlled you. I just loved you. We did everything together because I thought you wanted to." But what they really mean, if they could translate their feelings into truth, is, "I don't know who I am. I have surrendered control to you because that is what I do. I gave you the wheel, and now I hate where we are, so I am blaming you for driving. I can't work out what to think, and it is your fault." Or more profoundly, they might mean, "I can't determine the line between being loved and being controlled because a parent who was meant to do the former was more interested in the latter. Love to me feels like suffocation. And now that you love me, I feel suffocated. We can find ourselves dropped like a stone. One day we are everything, the next we are nothing. The discard phase is brutal. They move on to the next person, the next identity, the next mirror, leaving us reeling, questioning our own reality. And yet, ironically, and this is the saddest part, we may have been very right for them. We might have truly loved them. We might have been the safe harbor they needed. They just didn't know enough about who they were to trust their original instincts. They did not trust their own happiness. So, what do we do? How do we handle this? Whether we are the person missing a self or the person loving one. If you recognize yourself in this description, if you feel that hollow wind blowing through your own chest, I want you to know that there is hope. It is never too late to find out who you are. The journey requires courage. It requires you to stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward with curiosity. You must begin to ask yourself the small questions. Do you really like that song? Do you really want to go to that party? It is okay to say no. It is okay to disappoint people. In fact, disappointing others is often the first step toward finding yourself. And if you are the partner, the friend, or the observer of someone like this, compassion is your greatest tool. It is painful to be pushed away, yes, but understand that it is not about you. The best we can do for people who have been denied a self is to signal that we aren't, as their parents once were, only there to foist yet another set of views on them. We must be different. We must be the anti-narcissist. We won't demand that they echo us. When they agree with us too quickly, we might gently challenge them. We might say, "Are you sure? It is okay if you disagree. I would love to hear what you really think." We want to be curious about someone they have never yet been allowed to discover. We are keen to do a very eerie and unparalleled thing. We want to get to know them properly. We want to meet the stranger inside them. It takes patience. It takes a thick skin. They might lash out. They might test you. They might try to morph into what they think you want. But if you hold the space, if you remain steady, if you keep asking, "Who are you? What do you love?" eventually, a real person might start to emerge from the shadows. It is a tragedy to lose a self, but it is a miracle to find one. And that miracle is worth fighting for, whether it is for someone else or for the beautiful, hidden truth of your own heart. Thank you so much for listening to the Happy Aura channel. This is Jenny reminding you that you are enough, just as you are, without the masks. Until next time, take gentle care of yourselves.